In the mid to late 19th century, nationalism was probably the biggest reason for revolution in Europe. Many people, political or common, used nationalism in their favor as it helped unify or create countries based on nationality and ethnicity rather than war-marked territory. China is one of the many examples of nationalist-based revolution, as it became a country mainly because of revolutionaries like Sun Yat-sen and Chiang Kai-shek who used nationalism to create one country. However, in the 1920s, nationalists began to meet their worst-known enemy, known as Marxists. Marxist ideology was introduced in the 19th century. However, it was not popularized until the early 20th century, when communism, a Marxist derivative, was starting to be implemented in major areas like the Republic of China. Nationalism and communism were beginning to clash with each other, especially in the Republic of China, as it would ultimately lead into many arguments, debates, and ultimately civil war. However, only one of the parties will prevail after bloodshed. The Qing dynasty ruled for a few hundred years and never really experienced any issues until the late 19th century into early 20th century, where they did not believe in westernization or industrialization for that matter. Many young reformists in the early 20th century believed in westernization and industrialization in order to grow economically and to prepare for any means necessary, like wars or any type of conflict. These reformists, or revolutionaries, rebelled against the Qing dynasty for this change, or changes for that matter. Many of these rebellions perpetuated throughout the early 20th century. However, on October 1911 was the first successful rebellion from nationalists and reformists that wanted to end the Qing dynasty. Known as the Wuchang Uprising, this rebellion basically put an end to the Qing dynasty once and for all. And then it would lead into the creation of the Republic of China, which was provisional at the time. Just like the leader or president of the Republic, Sun Yat-sen, who is actually the leader of the movement to end the Qing dynasty. He actually wanted to overthrow this dynasty many times. One of Sun's closest acquaintances was Yuan Shikai, a military general of the prior Qing dynasty that fell. Yuan made a deal with Sun, which was making the emperor renounce his throne for presidency of the Republic of China. The deal was successful, and therefore Sun made Yuan the first official president of the Republic of China in 1912. Shikai was not a good leader for the Republic of China. He mainly served himself and followed authoritarian ways rather than president and republic ways. And in 1915, he claimed himself emperor of the Republic, which did not set well with the people. And fortunately, in 1916, he renounces himself from the throne and dies. After Shikai's death, China began to go in a weird era where the north part of China were factions of warlords and just conservative militarists who served just for war and was not really a republic. However, Sun Yat-sen moved the Provisional Republic down south, and he basically created what was known as the Kuomintang Party, which was a nationalist party. In his death in 1925, the power mainly moved over to Chiang Kai-shek, who was the military leader of Kuomintang at the time. However, the Kuomintang Party was not the only prominent party in China at the time. In fact, there was a growing party that opposed the ideas of the Kuomintang, and that would soon face war with this party and spark civil war that would last almost 20 plus years. In Russia, the Bolshevik Revolution was a huge win for communism worldwide and ultimately influenced many scholars in China to set up this type of government and party. The main fourth movement is a general movement in which many of the Chinese scholars turned to Marxism and tried to work in communism within the government that was already set up. Therefore, in 1921, the Chinese Communist Party was founded and set up by the soon-to-be leader of the party, Mao Zedong, who was the Marxist scholar to begin this movement. The Chinese Communist Party started out really small, only having about 50 representatives attend the first meeting in 1921. The Soviet Union wanted the Chinese Communist Party to relocate to the Nationalist Kuomintang Party. This created an uncomfortable alliance between the two. They did not agree on beliefs. This created a rivalry later on and would lead into conflicts. But even amongst the tension between the two parties, the Chinese Communist Party managed to prevail, and within 1925 it had 1,000 people in the party, and the growth of this party led to even a bigger rivalry and more tension, which would create more and more and more until it finally erupted into war. In 1927, Chiang Kai-shek launches anti-communist purges against the Chinese Communist Party, which inevitably made Mao Zedong and other communists in southern China to move into northwestern China, where they set up their real base.
Chinese Communist Party and Kuomintang temporarily stopped fighting. They allied in World War II from 1937 to 1945. After World War II, Kuomintang leader Chiang Kai-shek and Mao Zedong met for a series of talks. They made agreements on democracy, equality for all political parties, and military. The Civil War continued in 1946, with the Chinese Communist Party winning most of the battles. This led to the Chinese Revolution in 1949. In October 1949, after many military victories, Zedong made a proclamation beginning the People's Republic of China. Kai-shek and many of the Kuomintang fled to Taiwan to regroup and plan an attack. In Taiwan, Kuomintang relocates the Republic of China on the main island of Taiwan in 1949. A huge following of people relocate with the Republic of China to Taiwan. Japan finally renounces all rights to Taiwan and formally leaves it to the Republic in the hands of the Republic of China in the Treaty of Peace. Taiwan practiced different governing tactics than mainland China, hence deeming them different countries. The U.S. recognizes the Republic of China and Taiwan. In 1954, America claims alliance with Taiwan. China remains one of the few communist countries in the world.